Well, Whole Foods is an interesting example today, and we were actually talking about this in my undergraduate ethics class just yesterday, right? I mean, they have enjoyed tremendous success. They are connecting with a variety of stakeholders. They've got very, very engaged employees. They've got very faithful consumers. They've got, investors, and I mean, through the stock market that are clearly showing that they appreciate the returns that they're giving. So what are the signals that something might be amiss there? Well, first of all, this notion of putting the customer first and all that it means for what's going on inside the firm, you really have to articulate that beyond just the sort of the high level, we put the customer first or the customer first. However you articulate it, you really need to think through all of the implications of that. And you need to maintain a focus on that, and you occasionally need to change the practices that underlie that. So paying attention to the competitive landscape, walking the floor, if you will, and understanding how your consumer might be changing and their tastes might be changing. That's probably one of the big lessons here. The second one has to do with your treatment of people and just what it means to put people first, and I mean your employees, in a way that allows them to stay engaged, allows them to voice their own concerns and to make sure that they feel as though those concerns are being heard. Employees will stick with you through tough times if they feel like they're actually being listened to. And there was clearly a lack of communication at Circuit City, from some of the very valuable employees on up the chain. And wherever that disconnect is occurring, it needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. This will occasionally show up in employee turnover, but so many businesses are operating blind to this issue because in a marketplace like today, the employees aren't necessarily leaving. Where will they go? But my own work on loyalty suggests they're not loyal employees. And I think about loyalty as being, showing adherence to some set of values. They're not really buying into the values, they're going through the motions. And I think you could find evidence of that. Now, at Circuit City, some of the signals were coming from turnover, but they simply just chose not to pay attention or thought, we can replace just those salespeople, that's easy, we can do that. You can't, right? In part because you're losing the institutional knowledge, but more importantly, in my book, because you had a situation in which people were buying into the values, they believed in why the company existed and where it was headed, they were probably going the extra mile for you, and suddenly there's confusion about the company, there's a lack of communication, and these folks think there's got to be a better place to work.